Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the program. My name is Jeff, otherwise known as the Economic Prepper. Got pop-ups on my screen, dealing with that right now. But I wanted to talk to you today about the Federal Reserve note dollar, this lovely little green piece of paper that we talk about so much. The debt, the national debt, how that's going to work, and potentially a solution for this debt crisis. So I'm going to dig into this. It's not going to involve Bitcoin. Believe it or not, it's not going to involve Bitcoin. We have a different option here, but maybe it does. I'll get to that. So if you like this kind of content, please give me a like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Really appreciate it. You know the drill. Let's just jump right into it. Okay. We have $36 trillion worth of debt in the United States. Okay. And then we explain, first off, how that came to be, and then what possible solutions there could be coming as soon as within a month that it could be proposed. We'll still have to see. We'll have to see. So first off, let's rewind the clock. Let's go back to 1913 when the Federal Reserve first started. And the first one of these was printed. Now, not this one. This one's a little bit different. This actually has different writing on it and so on and so forth, different dates. But you get the idea. Let's just pretend this is the first ever dollar that was created. So $1 is created. Now, there's debt on this dollar. You need to pay the Treasury back. You need to pay the Federal Reserve back for this dollar with interest. Here's the problem. There's only one of these that exists. If there's only one of these that exists, how do I pay interest on it with only one? So, problem solved. Haha, now we have two. Now, both of these have interest on them. Now, the first one, we knew we had interest, so we created this one so we can pay interest on the next one. But wait a minute, the second one, there's no sleight of hand there, okay? This doesn't matter. So this one, I'm going to use this second one that I just printed to pay interest on this one. But now this one's paid off. I've got this one with even more interest on it because there's interest on both. So this compounds, okay? This compounds, it adds up. So every dollar, just say like every dollar I owe a nickel. Let's just say that. Or a penny. I'll go with a penny. I owe a penny. Now we kind of coalesce to 2 cents, 2%, but let's just go with a penny. I owe this, I don't have a penny, so I print another dollar. Now I owe $2.02. Well, I don't have those 2 cents, so I got to print these. Eventually, I print 100 of these, and I have to print 101 to pay off 100. But now I owe interest on $101 now, 101 pennies, and it goes on and on and on. That's how interest grows. The point is, the national debt can never be paid off with a debt-based system because all this stuff is debt material. This has all got debt to it. So this, as soon as they're printed, it's like driving a new car off the lot. It's worth less than you started, okay? So how do we solve this? We've been doing this 36 trillion times and for 100 plus years, and that's how we get to where we have $36 trillion in debt. Now, we've reinvented the dollar several times since 1913. There was an event in 1944 that created made the dollar the global standard. It was the global reserve currency. Everything's priced in dollars at that point because near the end of World War II, the U.S. had the strongest economy, had the most gold, the best manufacturing. Basically, they were the big dog on the planet, and that made the dollar really the strongest. So it became the reserve currency. Well, most fiat currencies run about 20 to 30 years. The average is like 28 years. Just call it 30 years for easy math. 1913 to 1941, that's 31 years. So now the dollar gets reinvented. Now the dollar is the global currency. So from 1944 to 1971, it's just 27 years. We decided, you know what? We're not going to originally the idea was these are easy to move around than pieces of gold. So this represents gold. 1971, it no longer represented gold. There's no longer any silver in the currency. There was no longer any gold-backed exchanges. These dollars are basically now fiat currency, which means by decree, which means that the government says these have value because we say so. That's fiat currency. It has value by decree or because we say so. The military might backs it, the economy backs it, sure, but you believe that this dollar system is worthwhile. Meanwhile, it's not backed by any assets, which means it has no hard cap, there's no limit to it. That's the problem. So, chug along for 1971, we've gone off the gold standard. You've seen the charts probably before where you see the buying power just falls off the planet starting in the 70s. And then the 1% gathers more assets. They turn these things, which are inflationary, which means they lose purchasing power every single year, at least 2%, if not more. And they trade them for assets that they appreciate in value. That could have been real estate, could have been commodities, could have been stocks, could have been anything that other than these things, which we know lose value over time, especially since 1971. Well, the U.S. got in the third generation of the dollar, decided to make it be the petrodollar, struck a deal with the Saudis, can only buy the oil in the OPEC region, the Middle East, with dollars. And in exchange for that, the U.S. put military bases all over, protected the Middle East. That lasted for almost 50 years, and then the global financial crisis in 2008 reset a bunch of stuff. Basically, we've had the dollar like 4 different times. 4 different times, 30 years each, that's about 120 years. Basically, we're at the end of its life. We're at the point now, fast forward to today, getting to the point, I'm sorry. Today, the dollar, these things don't buy much of anything. We know it takes like 10 of these to buy a dozen eggs. It's insane. It takes 4 of these to buy a gallon of gas. You get the idea. The eggs didn't change. The gas didn't change. The gallon of milk is still the same. The gallon of gas is still the same. But the purchasing price of these is less. So how do we fix it? How do we move forward if this is not the answer? Well, on Twitter I posted this, but I wanted to share it here as well. The concept of that is that we bring what's old and make it new again. In other words, we create a second dollar. A second dollar which was based on the constitutional dollar, which was the original design, which goes back to 1 troy ounce of silver is a constitutional dollar. That's why a lot of people collect silver dollars. The old ones, of course, before 1964, where they were 90% silver. So if you go back to so you reintroduce the dollar and you call it give it a name, constitutional dollar. Whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter to me. But the constitutional dollar is now available at some point in 2025. Now, unlike in 1971, it's spelled, well, I guess it's similar. You're given the choice, right? You're given the choice. And any citizen could be given this choice of like when you get your wages, you can be paid in Federal Reserve notes or you can get paid in constitutional dollars. Do I have a silver coin to represent this? Of course, I just put them all away. All right, I'm back on my silver coin. So now I got the silver coin, right? So this is going to represent the new dollar. This is the new, old, previously defined constitutional dollar before the Federal Reserve, okay? This is 1 ounce of silver. That's going to represent the new dollar. It could come in this physical form. It probably will come in a digital form. But let's just do, for easy math, say this is worth $30, 30 Federal Reserve notes, okay? So you could get paid. Let's just make it easy. You get paid $30 an hour right now. You probably make more. Hopefully, you make at least that much. Let's just say, for sake of argument, you make $30 an hour. You can choose to get paid in 1 of these per hour, or you can get paid in 30 of these per hour, before all the deductions, whatever. Just you get the idea. So you're given that choice in 2025. All right, that is now on the table. Now that's available to U.S. citizens. They can get paid that way. So now people have the choice. They have the choice of getting paid in Federal Reserve notes or these, and then banks are encouraged, but probably forced to, do an even exchange at any given time for this to this and back and forth. So what will happen? What will happen if that happens? If that occurs, what will happen for people? Well, people that understand sound money and know that something like this, like the constitutional dollar will be backed by something, be backed by an asset. Could be gold, could be silver, could be Bitcoin, could be other commodities, could be real estate, could be oil, could be a combination of all that. Could be just a representative of GDP. We'll see. But there's something backing this new currency. So you get paid by a currency that's backed by something or a currency that's backed by decree, by fiat. And on day 1 of this introduction of this program, they're equal. So people that understand sound money will obviously go for this. People that just want bigger numbers will go for this. What will happen within a year, probably about 6 months or so, people will start to see that instead of getting 30 of these for one of these, you might get 40 or 50 of these for one of these. And people start saying, wait a minute, why is this worth more? They'll start to be naturally inquisitive. They will ask these questions, conversations will occur, and people will start to want this more than this. Now, what happened to that whole debt? Okay, we owe, like, entities, companies, investors, they're all owed this stuff, okay? That's the $36 trillion debt. Somewhere there, someone holds a bond or a treasury or a mortgage or something that where we owe the debt paid in this. That doesn't change, okay? That is what you agreed to. That is what is going to be paid back in. Those are the terms and conditions. Whether the currency goes up in value or down in value. That's what was agreed. So if your mortgage is 2,500 Federal Reserve notes a month, that's your term. But if you're getting paid in these, and these now convert to more of these, you can pay down your debt easier. Now, will that hurt the companies that invested in these? Yes, and they will have to make adjustments. But that is the only feasible way that I see that we can make this equivalent and equal to people and encourage people to understand, to educate themselves about money. If you have two different currencies available in the U.S., and believe me, there's more than one available. People can buy silver or gold any given day that they want, okay? But most people don't. They just take these and they just move on. So we're trying to encourage the behavior in other countries where they went from in 1999, they went from the pound to the euro, the lira to the euro, the French franc to the euro. So they have lived at a time that was pre-euro and post-euro. They've changed currencies. That's happened in a number of nations across the globe, but not the U.S. For over 100 years, it's been the dollar, quote unquote, but it's been a different dollar for every generation. There was the first generation before World War II. There was a generation from World War II to going off the gold standard. There's another generation from 71 to around 2000, then 2008 global financial crisis. Then there's another generation from 2008 to today. Okay, 4 lives of the dollar. Okay, that now this is where we need to get the U.S. to start to think outside of terms like this, because no one alive in the U.S., I'm going to assume that no one's older than 108, 109, but basically no one alive in the U.S. right now that's an active participant in the economy has ever seen a world without the U.S. dollar. That's not true in a lot of other countries. That's why it's easier for other countries to adopt new currencies, but not in the U.S. Because if you walk into a store, everything is priced in U.S. dollars. What will happen if you start having two choices, right? And just, this is a simple introduction. There's the new dollar, which is really the old dollar, the better standard dollar, the hard money asset-backed dollar, or the Federal Reserve note dollar. You have two choices now in the U.S. What will happen within a year, you will start to see stores price in both these and these. And people will want to get paid in this because they will see that if this becomes worth more than this in a given amount of time. So people will naturally learn that this is better money than this. So this will drive out this, will drive down the debt of this, because no new debts will be acquired in terms of these, because no one will want those within a year or two. That debt will get paid down because this will hyperinflate because no one wants it. It'll probably be like, instead of 30, one of these for 30 of these, you might get 300 of these in a couple of years compared to one of these. That will take that $36 trillion debt that we have, that's that monkey on the back of the United States, will make it $4 trillion instead of $40 trillion, because of that 10-to-1 change that will happen in a rapid amount of time. So basically, you're going to hyperinflate the debt out of existence. Now, some of the debt holders will get caught holding the bag, but the ones that are smart enough to realize that times change, money changes, money evolves, will move to this as quickly as they can. They will sell their mortgages. They will do whatever they can to get rid of that bad paper to get into this better currency. And I think it was, is it Metcalfe's Law? No, Gresham's Law. That pushes out, confirm that in the comments for me, but I believe Gresham's Law means that bad money pushes out good money. So the bad money will get circulated and get spent. The good money will be kept. That's what we need to learn. And then eventually people will learn that this new dollar has very comparable traits to Bitcoin and gold and silver. That's why there's so many people out there like yourself, the economic prepper, that's out there saying you should have hard assets. This is what the wealthy do. We're not reinventing the wheel. The wealthy people don't have income. So they don't worry about the income taxes. They have assets, and they make appreciation and compound interest and investment interest and long-term capital gains money, and they borrow against their assets. They never worry about dollar-based income. They don't worry about this stuff because they have things like this. So that's my opinion on how things could potentially go. Kind of a what-if conversation. What if a new dollar is introduced into circulation? But what are your thoughts? Leave your comments down below. I read forward. Oh boy. So what are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below. I read every single one. I will respond back. And if you have more questions, I'll make a follow-up video. But I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Once again, Happy New Year, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.